Okay, so first thing is discovery medicine. The group we have, that group is started with an intention to discover medicine newly. Over the years, what I have been practicing, like when I was practicing, I came across many details which said over a period of years we have complicated medicine so much so that the original aspects of what was supposed to be done has been lost. Okay, now this platform serves to discover them along with each and every one of you who are there on this call, so that you can now take on this, and give it to the world, or give it to your patients when you practice, when you apply, when you are speaking to your seniors and juniors. You can take these details, okay, and which will make your practice simple and will many times help you save a patient's lives and his money. Okay. So now next thing is, today we have some concerns. So I just want to address that concern before we get to actual topic. First thing is, this is a new platform. This platform was started to accommodate more numbers. Last time we had a breakdown that more than 100 wanted to join and the maximum limit was 100. Okay, so this is a platform which can allow up to 1,000 participants. Okay, so getting used to this new platform may be a concern. Just a minute, okay? Okay, so I just noticed that some people were on lock, so I just allowed them to come in. So where I was what was I saying last? Yeah, the intention, right? So now taking that intention forward, yeah, the concern. The first concern is the new channel, new panel that we are trying out, and the next thing is I'm at home, so there may be issue with power supply. So if that happens, I have made arrangement to come back to you using my mobile. But if that doesn't work, then there may be a delay of 2 to 3 minutes, and I want you to bear with me for during that time. Okay, so without further delay, we will start today's topic. And today's topic was discovering and dismantling the confusion in abdomen palpation. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing the screen now. Okay. Okay. So can you see this slide? Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to discover and dismantle confusion in abdominal palpation. First, let's discover what are the confusions that are there. Okay. First one is whether to palpate abdomen clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. A question may pop up to you like, should the abdomen be palpated in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction? Like we know, like most of the palpation or examination will be done by standing on right side of the patient, right? So if you look, this is the abdomen quadrants. Basically, this will be called as the regions. But another classification is where you will classify it into 4 quadrants. So we will be using this, given that this is most commonly practiced and sought about during the rounds. So don't have to be worried about the whole of the details again. So I will take you, follow the arrow. So you see the midline regions. These are the epigastric regions, umbilical regions, and hypogastric region. 3 regions in the midline. And then you have right and left hypochondriac region, right and left lumbar region, right and left iliac regions. Okay, and just I want to again reinforce, we are going to start from the basics, because students from every term in MBBS student can join and get benefit out of this session. But meanwhile, hold on, your share of surprise will be there. So the first question answer, like let's look at this. Should we palpate it in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction? So this is a clockwise direction, and this is the anti-clockwise direction, and both of them are allowed. Okay, so then what you need to take care of is that you're going to start palpation from the iliac regions. Either it is in the clockwise or anti-clockwise. You are going to start palpation in the iliac region. Okay. Next thing, so when you are palpating these regions, is it always like you're going to follow these, like after right iliac region, then I'm going to hypogastric region? Is it always going to be like this? No, there are exceptions where you may not be following the whole of the thing. For example, if you found there is a tenderness in any area, or a wounded area, or a ulcer which has been bandaged, then you will skip that area. For example, if there is a scar in the left lumbar region, then you will be going for right iliac region, hypogastric region, left iliac region, and then you will be skipping this area and moving to the next. Yeah. Once these things are done, then again you will come back to the area which was tender. Okay, just to make sure that there is tenderness. Okay, and the last area that you will be palpating is umbilical region. Yeah. Next thing. So there are types of palpation. So first thing is superficial or light palpation. So superficial or light palpation are interchangeably used, both mean the same. So what are they used for? First thing is local rise in temperature and local tenderness. These two answers many people know, they are highlighted in red. Local rise in temperature and local tenderness. The other things that we don't usually hear from students, okay, that is consistency and presence of guarding. Now, consistency or softness of the abdomen, that also you examine by using light palpation. And presence of guarding. So these two are highlighted in the same color, because guarding means there is some deterrence to the softness of the abdomen, or the usual softness or firmness that you want to call to the abdomen. There is some increased resistance to it, and that will be called guarding in superficial palpation. Yeah. And one more thing I have noted about tenderness is there is also something called as rebound tenderness, which I will tell you what it is in the next slide. The next thing would be okay. I apologize for the break. Again, there is a, as I said, there is a power concern, and that's what happened. Okay, you are all able to see me again? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me? Hello? Okay, I apologize again, the technical issues again. So superficial or light palpation, right? So superficial organ or masses, these can also be felt by superficial palpation. Next, this slide will tell you some of the things that we need to reinforce again, which is not commonly spoken. First thing is the guarding. So just observe the definition. Guarding refers to the involuntary tension. So this is not something which patient does voluntarily. So when you're doing a light palpation, patient, like, you feel involuntary tension in the abdomen muscles, which can be localized or generalized. That is called as guarding. So how will you remember? If you want to remember, like any sport, players wear guards, right? And they are not wearing it inside the abdomen. Okay, they are wearing like over the superficial area. So the guarding usually refers to the finding on superficial palpation, okay, which is the involuntary tension in the abdominal muscles. Next, if tenderness was absent and you are still doubtful, you may ask the patient to cough to elicit tenderness while continuing to apply gentle pressure. Sometimes, like, patient may not say or grimace, what we call as grimace, on your light palpation, right? But if you keep the gentle pressure applied uniformly and then ask the patient to cough, then maybe he may grimace. That is one more technique to pick tenderness. Okay, this you can try if you are doubtful the patient, is not grimacing because he is just tolerating it. The next thing is the rebound tenderness. Now, interesting thing about rebound tenderness, generally people don't do that. No one examines that, So what is the difference? Like, you are superficially palpating the abdomen. So when you are applying the pressure, you're going to move the hand slowly towards the abdomen and you're going to press lightly, right? But when you are removing the hand off, if you want to elicit rebound tenderness, that has to be sudden release of pressure. Okay, and this sudden release of pressure is what will cause movement of the peritoneum. Okay, and rebound tenderness is used to identify presence of any inflammation in, like, in the peritoneum, which is peritonitis. Yeah, for you to elicit that, the one thing that you need to remember is there should be a sudden release of pressure. Okay, this is for rebound tenderness. Next thing is about deep palpation. So deep palpation, most of them will answer why we do that. First thing is to look for organomegaly, and next thing is to look for mass in the abdomen. So enlarged liver, enlarged spleen, that would qualify as organomegaly. A mass in the abdomen is like a tumor mass which should not have been there. If that is there, that will be called as a mass in the abdomen. Okay, but some authors also use mass in the abdomen to include both organomegaly, which are like normal organs or enlarged organs, or also they include an abnormal mass. Okay, and next thing is the tenderness. Again, you need to look. Okay, the essence to get is, so though we dwell so much on, oh, superficial palpation is this, deep palpation is this, all of them are actually to be used complementarily to get findings out of it. So deep palpation can also be used to elicit tenderness and rebound tenderness in case of obese patients or patients with ascites, in whom superficial palpation may not be sufficient to move the parietal peritoneum or cause tenderness. Yeah, and next thing is the rigidity. So guarding and rigidity, for many it exists the same, but that is different. Okay, this slide will make it clear for you. So as previously saw, like you saw that on superficial palpation, the tension that you feel, which is involuntary, that would be guarding, the superficial one. The rigidity is like it is finding on deep palpation, and this can be either voluntary or involuntary. Yeah, and usually it is generalized. So if you look, how to remember this? I said guarding is superficial, like players wear guard superficially. So if you call someone like he's so rigid, you will not be calling him like a superficial rigid person, right? You will be like, he is rigid to the core. He is very strict. So you can get a little sense of how to use guarding and rigidity with these examples. Next is superficial or light palpation. Okay, this slide will focus on the technique. So what do you actually do when you're doing superficial or light palpation? First thing is to pick all the characteristics, you'll be using gentle pressure with volar aspect or palmar aspect, such that the finger depression will be finger will depress the abdomen for 1 centimeter only, not more than that. Okay, and once this is done, you will be using the dorsum of your hand, and this time there is no pressure, just a superficial touch, and this is to look for temperature. Okay, so this is for temperature and this is for tenderness. Okay, and other aspects of superficial palpation. So this is an image which shows you how to perform a superficial palpation, and I also have shown an intra-abdominal mass which is not touched during superficial palpation. Next thing is the deep palpation. So regarding the deep palpation, okay, so if you look, these are the words which are commonly heard. What you need to do in deep palpation, okay, so metacarpophalangeal joints are slightly flexed. Of course it has to be, because you need to reach the abdomen for more than 1 centimeter now, and you can't poke the person's abdomen by keeping the hand straight. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the hand placed over the abdomen with flat of the hand, whole of the flat on the abdomen, and you're going to flex your hand at metacarpophalangeal joints so that the depth can be more than 1 centimeter, and you will be calling that as deep palpation. Now the next question is, should you use the second hand? Okay, so many say, many discussions happen like, oh, you should not use the second hand, you should use the second hand. Well, second hand can be placed over the right hand if required. See, the idea here is not to get fixed with should I use one hand or two hands. The word you need to create when you're doing the deep palpation is to get your hand pressed for more than 1 centimeter deeper from the skin, right? So you're going to press, this is the focus, to see that your hand is reaching the abdomen for more than 1 centimeter. Okay. So if you need two hands, you need to do it in case, especially in case of ascites and obesity. Otherwise, if you're able to do it in one hand, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. And one more interesting thing about the deep palpation. So when you are palpating the abdomen, lungs should be in expiration. Okay, take a moment and you can just take a moment and breathe in and breathe out. So you will see, like, when you breathe out, when your lung is in expiration, your abdomen is flattened and the organs or the masses can become easily palpable. So that's why this is preferred. Okay. But one more section of deep palpation where you will be trying to palpate for other organs like liver and spleen, this will be the opposite thing. During liver and spleen palpation, which we will be discussing in coming sessions, what you're going to do is you're going to deepen your pressure. You are going to increase the pressure of your hands as and when the patient is inspiring. So this is opposite to the other masses or organ palpations. Okay, so just that's one interesting thing for you to know in deep palpation. Going to the next slide. Okay, this is a picture which again shows the deep palpation. So you can look that the whole hand is lying on the abdomen and there is a flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint. Yeah, and this is now able to touch the intra-abdominal mass. Yeah. Now let's see the dipping palpation. Oh, there is so much confusion about deep and dipping. Okay, and it took half a day for me to really actually segregate the details of what's happening here actually. So dipping palpation is done in ascites. This many of them will know. Okay, if the discussion has happened. Now let's see what actually is done during dipping palpation. First thing is, it is a type of deep palpation. So if someone says that you're going to use one hand for deep palpation, two hand for dipping palpation, so that is not the difference. You will be either using one hand or two hand, either in deep palpation or dipping palpation, because dipping palpation is just another part, one type of deep palpation only. Next thing is, you will be flexing metacarpophalangeal joints in dipping palpation but not in deep palpation. So that also is not true. Given it is a type of deep palpation, metacarpophalangeal joints are flexed even in dipping palpation. And of course you need to do that because you're going to again raise the abdomen for more than 2 centimeters from the surface. Next is, this is the one which you need to remember, and not many people are aware of this. What happens in dipping palpation is, you are going to suddenly and sharply dip your hand inside the abdomen. Okay, and why you need to do that? See, what is happening is you are doing dipping palpation in ascites only. So when there is tense ascites or too much of fluid, to palpate the sudden organs beneath, you are going to suddenly and sharply dip your hand. Okay, and again to support this, you can use the second hand or the left hand. Okay, so when you are doing this, this is used to increase the pressure so that you can really reach out to the organs. One more interesting thing is, in dipping palpation, there is another thing that you will do. As you approach close to the rib cage, the left hand sometimes is taken to the lower posterior rib cage. Okay, for example, when you are starting to palpate spleen or liver in a patient with ascites, you're going to start from the right iliac region using dipping palpation, where you may need extra pressure from the left hand also, right? But as you move closer to the rib cage, you can use your left hand to push the organ, from like posterior side. Yeah, in this case, the second hand will be in the posterior side of the rib cage, correct? And that is also called as ballotability, but we will be again discussing those things in the future sessions. Next, notice, don't surprise the patient. See, dipping palpation needs aggressive, sudden, jerky movements, and if you have not informed the patient, especially if the patient has a tenderness or something like that, you may really surprise the patient, and it may not go good between you and the patient. Okay, so make sure that if you are performing dipping palpation, you are going to explain the procedure to the patient, and this will tell you like why the sudden dip is necessary. Okay, so if you look at the dipping palpation, what's happening here? The same hand, like the whole of the hand lies flat. As I said, metacarpophalangeal joint, you can see that also is bent, and what is not shown is the sudden jerk. Okay, that can't be shown in 2D picture. So it's a sudden jerk is what is the thing that you will be doing. And if you look, I have marked the tracing of fluid movement in a patient with ascites when this movement is performed. So when sudden jerk is applied, the whole of the fluid, okay, you see that it's a tense compartment, right? And what it will do is it will go and push the organ towards the hand that is palpating. Okay, and given that this is just a sudden and temporary movement, what happens is this fluid is going to exert pressure only temporarily. So because of this, what is going to happen? You can, in case there is ascites and there is an intraabdominal mass, you may get to touch it. Like you can get to know only the presence, but it cannot give a definite architecture, like how you would do in a normal palpation, deep palpation, like liver is smooth border, spleen has the anterior notch. Those things you will be able to say that in dipping palpation, okay, because you can get only the presence of it and not the details. But okay, dipping palpation can give some very other interesting details, which we will be discussing in future sessions again. Okay, now there is a word about bimanual palpation. So bimanual, as the literal meaning would say, like you're using both hands, two hands, okay, and you're going to exert pressure with using both hands. That is called bimanual palpation. Simple, right? Now you look at this. Now the patient, there is a right hand on top, left hand on bottom, and both of them are pressing to reach for the mass. Okay, and you can see this as the umbilicus. This can be taken as the umbilicus. So right, so you see bimanual palpation, both hands are pressing against each other and trying to palpate the mass. Now some more interesting details about it. Now I want you to observe the difference in the next slide. Let me see, like when in the Q&A session, how many people will really catch it. Okay, this is a bimanual palpation to palpate spleen. Okay, please observe the picture. I'm going to ask questions from you. Let me see. Okay, and this is the bimanual palpation to palpate right kidney. So in this patient, the head is towards this side, feet towards this side, right hand, left hand. This is the patient, like in this figure, the head is towards this side and the leg towards this side, and his spleen has been marked by it, marks it. And patient's doctor's right hand is on top, left hand is bottom. Okay, so I'm going to ask for if anything you have noticed in bimanual palpation of spleen and kidney. Next thing is the ballotment. Now there is a difference between bimanual palpation and ballotment, and these words are usually spoken with respect to kidney's palpation. Okay, you are able to palpate kidney either by bimanual palpation or ballotment. Okay, so let's look at what is the difference in them. During bimanual palpation, both hands are exerting pressure, whereas during ballotment, hands switch roles. So next coming slide will make it clear for you. And just like there is a difference between bimanual palpation, the previous slide, there is difference between ballotment of spleen, renal mass, intraabdominal mass, and even liver. Okay, which again we will not be touching. We will be talking about them in future sessions again. So let's look at this slide. Like this will be, this gives an easy representation of what happens during ballotment. You see in ballotment here, the pressure is being exerted by the hand beneath, and the superficial hand is trying to feel. Like you see the bend here, the metacarpophalangeal joint is bent here, but here it is laid flat to feel for the mass which is being pushed. Okay, and then during the second start, like second stage, what happens is the superficial hand is trying to press it, and the lower hand is now straight, trying to palpate the hand, like palpate the mass. Okay, this is the difference between ballotment. Okay, an interesting example is, see, ballotment is done when there is excessive fluid. Okay, apart from the technique, when it is also done like when the mass is too large or there is fluid. So the example I came across internet to compare it is, if you are putting your hand in the aquarium, both hands inside the aquarium, and there's a ball, plastic ball inside, and you're going to push from one end and you're going to feel the other end, and then you're going to hit the ball again, like back and forth with one hand after the other. Okay, that would be an example of how ballotment is performed. Okay, so we're going to go for the Q&A sessions. So before that, that's this. Okay, so I'm going to take the lecture mode and I'm going to put it on. Okay, and now I'm going to put a Q&A session. Okay, so I've stopped pausing the screen. There are some chats. Okay, so I will open them first. If any questions are there, we will address that. We can hear you, yes, sir. Okay.
Unmuted.
Okay, Hiteshri, you are there on the call. Have a question you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Hiteshri.
Sir, in bimanual palpation of bimanual palpation of kidney, is it palpable in normal individuals? Like,
okay, that's your question. Okay. So bimanual palpation, kidney is usually not palpable, but in normal individuals, right kidney can be palpable. Okay, and left kidney is less likely. So the answer is usually no. But if you are feeling, it has to be right kidney and not left kidney. So this also speaks the other way, that if you are able to feel a left kidney and not right, you may be faced with the abnormal left kidney. That also is positive.
thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Nice question. Today actually the intention is to get the word of palpation, like when you touch the abdomen. Okay. To see like whether you are able to perform superficial, deep, bimanual, dipping, everything accurately. And this class is not fully complete. We are going to touch individual organs and masses in the later class. Okay. But anyway, your question is welcome. Okay. Thank you for asking that. So Ratan. Ratan, are you able to unmute? Ratan, can you unmute? Are you there? Yeah, Ratan, I can hear you. Please go ahead. Ratan, you are there. Can you ask the question, please? Ratan, I can't hear you, so I'm going to put you on mute again.
Muted.
Ratan, you're there? Ratan, do you have a question? Okay, Ratan has chatted that he is clear. Got it. Next question.
Hi, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
How palpated by bimanual examination or palpable? What method is
Akash,
used?
can you repeat the question again? There is too much echoing.
Sir, how should we palpate kidney? Kidney should be palpated by bimanual examination or by ballotment?
Oh, okay. See, bimanual palpation and allotment in kidney. We will be discussing that in detail. But both the techniques are used to palpate kidneys, and both of them are separate and different conditions. We will have a detailed discussion on renal palpation in next future session. Okay, but both of them can be used. Okay. Do you have any other questions? Suman, you are there?
Hello.
Yes, Suman.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No. What is the difference? What is the difference between development and bimanual palpation?
Okay, what is the difference between development and bimanual palpation? So I will share the screen again. Okay, this time we are going to hurry it up. Now that so just give a moment. See, this is ballotment, right? In ballotment, what is happening is, it's like playing with a ping pong ball. Okay, if you look at the image, you're going to just play with it, right? So this left hand being pressed and right hand is just waiting for it to catch the ball, like, just palpate the ball. And when that is being fed, in the next stage, the upper hand is being pushing the ball towards the left hand. Can you see this? Suman?
Okay, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. In case of bimanual palpation, okay, in case of bimanual palpation,
Yes, sir.
both the hands are pressing together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this will be the major difference. And it is absolutely
Yes,
necessary
sir.
that you know the difference, because in future when these things are done to identify particular conditions. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
we will switch off the screen again. There's some more questions which are there. We'll take that. So I saw a chat question. Should we use, which hand should we use? Okay, for right hand or left hand? Something like that was their question. If I'm not creating that accurately, please chat that message again.
Ask your question.
So Hitesh, there is some background noise. Okay. So what's going to happen is, for example, you consider if you're standing on the right side of the patient and you're looking for ballotment, then the right hand will be on top and the left hand will be on bottom, at the bottom. Okay, sorry for that. And when you go on the left side of the patient to look for the left kidney, your left hand will be on the top and the right hand will be on the bottom. Okay, but it is not strict that this has to be the scenario. Even if you go to the left side, it is possible that you go to the head towards the head end of the patient and use the right hand on top and left hand at the bottom. That also is possible. So it's not a strict rule that only right hand should be there on top and left hand should be there at the bottom. Nothing like that. You can use it as per your convenience. The idea is to get the technique right, not the hands. Okay, any more questions we have? Okay, so currently the time is, let me just check. Time is 6:08. So I have a request. That session is complete if there are no questions. But can I take few more minutes of yours? Oh, just a second. There is a question again, I think. Venugopal Rao, you have a question?
Sir, during bimanual palpation and ballotment every time, we should flex the legs, sir, for doing abdominal palpation.
Yeah, when you are, see, I have not touched on basics like you need to keep your hand clean, warm, and keep the patient should not be breathing on your face. You should keep the leg flexed. No, those basics have not spoken on this, but they are all going to be followed for any aspect of your abdominal palpation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Venugopal. So, any more questions? I'll give 5 seconds if anything. Okay, so we'll go to next. Lavanya? Okay, I think that question. Okay, so See, what's going to happen now is I'm requesting you at some time to deepen the work that we are doing. Okay, so the session that was to be done for today, that is done. If there are no more questions, so do I have an opportunity to speak about what we are doing here, and what can we plan for further? Can that happen now? And it's not mandatory that you need to stay for this segment, but it is from my end just like a friendly conversation. Anyway, our sessions are like friendly. There's no preparation, nothing. You're going to be here talking to your friend, and if you would like to hear it more, you can be there. Otherwise, you can drop off the call now. So in the next 10 minutes, in the next 10 seconds, if you're not continuing, that's okay. But if you're continuing, then we will continue what I wanted to say. Okay. So thank you. So what I wanted to share is, see, the idea to start this book. The first thing was I just wanted what I had, like the knowledge I had, to reach out to someone. Some of you from our college will be knowing, and if you're from someone from the other college, you may not. When I joined Vaidehi Hospital as a faculty and I started teaching, first thing I saw is that, I had so many things to tell, and students were there who were interested, and there are many things that I could contribute. And there was honest feedback exchange between students and me. At one point, I was told that I was spending so much time on one topic. So then I said, but so many things are to be told. If you look in our current class, we just touched about how to touch an abdomen. I didn't even tell you how you need to palpate the liver, kidney, nothing. I just told you how to touch the abdomen. And it also, I assume that I have put it in a way such that you don't have to memorize anything, right? So like once I touch you and you got this, and you for life you know how to do superficial palpation, deep palpation, bimanual palpation, and ballotment, right? Including dipping, right? So now how to match that? So what I did is my dream became a little bigger. So I made an intention, like let me create some 100-page Xerox and give it to students so they will read. And I wanted to take some 1 year for that. I did that well before that, but then I saw like I was just being lazy and I didn't do the detailed work of it. So then I went and started doing more research. So I don't know when this passion to teach transformed into more hunger for more knowledge to educate myself and others. Okay, and from the last 4 years, I have been writing a book, and I just completed the book. And when it is time to publish, I was a little concerned, because when I was reading this many books to get to this, to get one book where students will get to know all the details in clinical methods, I came across many other books which are good, at least in certain aspects of it, but I had never heard about them before. So I got a little scared also. What if like the content is there, book is okay, but what if students don't get it? So I said, okay, let me at least reach out to some students who I know personally, and we'll talk to them. And then when only 3 students took some actions, I think, on day 1, and close to 100 students were there on the group. And after first 2 sessions, I started receiving personal messages from many students who really shared some encouraging stuff about what was happening. And I was, then that fear of what's going to happen book, all those things gotten away. And I was moved by so many students out there in many other colleges who wanted to, who said, when I was reading the message when it says that, so this kind of teaching is not available in our college, I said, okay, this medium, let me use it for that. And my dream became a little bit bigger. And I created a project called Project Rain. In Hindi, Barish, in Kannada, Male, the Project Rain. So I'll just create that project with you again. If you look when it rains, when you're looking at it outside, just if you observe it superficially, the rain appears, the rain appears good, grasses are getting greener and greener as it rains. But if you look closely, there is so much power and energy. And that is what I realized when those 3 students took some action, 100 people were there. Now there are, in any of the things that I told you on this call will make a hell lot of difference to so many students out there practicing medicine who took this profession so that they can learn it with ease and save lives. Now, in the meanwhile, what's happening during the academic years is more and more stress. If there is more time to spend with book, less time with people, again, what you wanted to do as a doctor, that is getting deviated. So I thought, let me serve by having a platform where all students from India, just imagine like this group that we have on Telegram can accommodate 2 lakh students. And just imagine like 40 students had these questions. Many people raise hand and someone else asked the question and your hand lowered down, right? And it might have been other way also. Like you were not even aware that this kind of doubt can exist, and someone asked that doubt, and that gets cleared. Now imagine like if 2 lakh students know that this is how the abdomen is palpated over 40 minutes of time, how would that be? And what would the future be for all those students who are like, I want this college, I want that college. Oh, my poor rank, I will not be able to learn this year. You know, just a start. We have close to 1,000 students on our groups put together, WhatsApp and Telegram put together. We have more than 1,000 students. Okay, and this is a friendly session. No one is mandatorily like, you know, when you are free, you log in. Otherwise, I want to send a record video. But when you are online with me and discovering that, there's a new word. Now imagine like 2 lakh students and getting to know the same platform. How would that be? You don't have to be concerned about which college to choose. All colleges in India will provide quality medical education, and you can, and this is absolutely necessary. Some of my relatives are at distant places in villages, and someone who's going to take care of it. If I say, hey, that college is, let it suffer, you know, some of my people who I care for may be in trouble. Okay, and that's when the dream got bigger to get to 2 lakh students. Now the request to you is, I can't do this alone. Now if you look, this has been a second week. It's a good start. I would not say like you have been discouraging or anything, but 1,000 students against 2 lakh, you know, it's 0.001%. You know, and you tell me which aspect of today's session would not make a difference. Like some student who knows this will now sleep peacefully. You tell me which student will not do that. Which student will not appreciate. You know, many people who are there on the groups have not joined the session. It's not because they are not interested and don't want to know. You know, they don't know what is available here. And some students, you know, maybe like we need development. Some may be concerned like, oh, am I going to waste more time here? I have to study a lot. You know, in fact, going through the same cycle of studying a lot rather than discovering. You know, so my request to you is, I need your support to reach to each and every student in India. Okay, I don't know how it's going to happen, but definitely it is not going to happen if only I keep doing it. I have more than 100 sessions planned. Currently, I'm telling you 2 pages of what I've done. It's approximately 930 pages book. You know, and I think the speed of reading the book would be 2 weeks. You will need 2 weeks to complete the whole of the book. 1,000 pages are like fonts are bigger, color. Let me talk less about the book. Okay, but what I'm saying is, if those 2 lakh students are there on this platform, okay, where, you know, taking this as an inspiration, I have seen many of my friends are also encouraged. Some cardiologists, someone who is a rheumatologist. We have in our group, if you don't know, my senior who identified that I have this knack of picking some rare things. He's in our group. Yesterday night I added him. He's a rheumatologist by passion. You know, so we have some lucky people who are there going to be joining us very soon. But to get to the benefit, we can't be dealing with 0.001%. Okay, and if God forbid, but if the motivation for me to give this is not kept, like today we have 45, I'm still having motivation, I'm motivated, I want to contribute to more and more, I'm keeping this. But imagine if I say, yeah, enough here, whatever you do, 40 students are showing up or 100 students are showing up, what's going to happen? Okay, and I'm not saying like you're going to miss, you may discover like why I did after I joined MBBS in 2015. No one taught me palpation like this. No one taught me murmurs like this. I discovered it over a period of last 4 years. Okay, so maybe you will also discover 10 years later. Or if we all can work together, we can discover many things. Now currently what is happening is I'm doing everything, including adding person one by one and talking to them, and when there are personal questions to answer, and the presentations. If any one of you want to do a presentation of palpation, like only 40 students join, tomorrow someone wants to know about this, if some of you want to present it, I can give you the material. I can guide you, you know, what can be presented and what are the interesting things to be said. Now that also is possible. Okay, so this is what I have as a request to support me in reaching out to 2 lakh students. I don't know what actions you can do, and I'm not saying no, give up everything. If you have not taken that action of letting people around you know that there is something like this exists, which can make difference to students, please start sharing. Okay, and that is the only request I have. And don't take any extra time, nothing like this. Just like you say, call a friend and say this was a good movie. See if you can say like something like this happening, which can reduce the burden of time, that time burden the students spend with books. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, now you can unmute. The mode is on mute and unmute. You can unmute and mute yourself. So I'd like to hear from some students, like what they got, what are they left with, anything, any other doubts they have, any concerns they have. And this has got nothing to do with anything extra. I don't plan this to be a money platform or anything. Okay, I want to just keep this free. Whenever I am having some time, or my friends in future when they have time, they'll come here and speak with you. Whoever is free can join, like that. So any questions, anything you want to say, please you can unmute and say that. And just a friendly conversation again. Just remember, there is no one judging and doing anything. We are all here to learn. I openly say that I learned many things. Yes, Afifa.
Sir, I'm from Bangladesh. Actually, I'm also from India, but I traveled to Bangladesh to get educated in MBBS. And I learned a lot from your lecture about palpation, because we did not get clear knowledge when we were in our clinical classes, work classes, and we are still in third year, but we had many doubts regarding this palpation. But because of your lecture, we got the clear knowledge about what exactly palpation is. So I'm very much grateful, and I hope to contribute to your dream of getting this message to all over the students, and I'll make sure that I give this link that you have sent us on WhatsApp and all to my friends also. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Afifa, yeah. And one more thing, please invite them to Telegram group, because WhatsApp group became difficult to manage after 3 groups. So, in Telegram there is a link, I think. If you don't have it, I will post again in the Telegram. And really, first of all, thank you for acknowledging the way you did. Given whatever the circumstances, I really hope that you will be the light to take these things to students around you. In case even if students are not joining, they say like they have other reasons, please take this knowledge and share with them. Like when you're practicing, start to speak about this, okay, so that they get a sense of what happens. Yeah, and don't have to push anyone, okay. Students are also here to become doctors. Anyone wants it, they will join. But please, I'm really moved by what you said. Please take it on, okay. I didn't know that someone from Bangladesh is listening to it. Really, thank you, Afifa. Thank you. Yes, anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else, anything you want to say? So time is currently
thank you, sir.
I can give, yeah, Shankar, yes, Shankar.
Thank you, sir, for taking this great initiative.
Thank you. So Shankar, are you going to partner me in this, and you want to support, or should I be adding one person after the other daily?
Sir?
Like, are you going to support me in reaching out to all students in India, and now actually Bangladesh also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, it becomes too much stuff.
Yes,
I would say I would love to have a daily class of half an hour here and there. And I also wanted to check with you. Is it okay to have sometimes early morning sessions or afternoon sessions or evening sessions, anything like that will work? Or this is the only appropriate time?
We can check, sir.
Okay. Given that most of the times I would like to have it in the evenings, okay. But in case it's a holiday or anything like that, maybe I can pick an half an hour like that. Okay. So okay. Thank you, Shankar. Okay, and thank you for your partnership. I will look forward to it. Okay, I see 0.001% is 20. How come in 2 months we reaching out to 2 lakh students is not that big deal if there is support, if people are really knowing what's happening. Okay, so I look forward to that. Thank you. Meghna, can you increase the topics and live classes? I really want to do that, but currently trying to accommodate the number of attendees. Like if you look, we have a place for 1,000 participants, and currently we have maximum we had I think 50 to 53. That's not bad, but now if I invest only in teaching classes, then I will be just continue to do only 50. So I have to take some time to expand the number of students also. So no, I need support in that. Currently, if there is support to manage the rest of the stuff, I can fully dedicate my time to increase the number of classes. That's what I think is a concern for me currently. Otherwise, I would write. There's so many things to share, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see that happen very soon, Meghna. Okay, don't worry. I'll try to figure out a way also for that if possible from my end. But thank you for raising your opinion on that. Anything else? Anyone else wants to say? So I don't know whether there's a raise hand option. I think you can all chat. So let me see, like, if you are chatting, you can press S. Like if you're in this as a partner, there are 42 people on this group. Let me see how many people are going to say yes for what request I made. Okay, and that will give a sense of what happened in the last part of the segment of this today's session. Yeah, most students will be having class in the evenings. Definitely, I'll be considerate about it. I'm also occupied in the college hours in the morning hours, so mostly it will be evening. I was checking with holidays, anything like that. Okay, got you. So yeah, thanks a lot. So I'll be ending today's session for now. See you soon. This week only we're going to have one more session. I will let you know the topic, date, and time of the next session as soon as possible once I get my schedule right. Okay, and next time we will hit a more higher number. Okay, thank you. See you. Bye. Take care. Happy Doctor's Day. And one more thing. Wait. I just forgot. I just wanted to share one more thing which is very important and critical. Okay, take care. Bye.